looking to move to Chiang Mai and live here long term, keep watching this video. In this video, I'm going to break down 4 different areas that are important to think about when you're planning your move. So things like where to live, how to get around the city, how to find condos and things like that. So keep watching. So one of the most commonly asked questions that I get is, when is the best time of the year to move to Chiang Mai? So I'll start answering this by telling you when not to move here, which is during burning season. Burning season typically lasts from around February to May. And during this time, there's a lot of burning happening, not only in northern Thailand, but also in Laos and Myanmar and all of these surrounding countries as well. And it's basically the farmers burning their land to prepare for the next crop season. And so the pollution in Chiang Mai gets really, really terrible. So Chiang Mai is basically in between 2 mountains. That's the easiest way I can try and break it down. And so the pollution kind of just gets stuck here. Also in Bangkok, the pollution gets pretty bad, but usually around March is the worst time. And so even this past year in March, we were in the top 3 cities in the world for the worst air pollution. And so if you're planning to move to Chiang Mai, definitely avoid between February and May. Another time I'd say to avoid is around high season here. And this is kind of debatable because some people say, oh, you know, it's a great time to meet people and get adjusted to the culture and things in Chiang Mai. But in my opinion, from let's say November to January is considered the high season in Chiang Mai. This is a popular tourist season because the weather is really good. It's considered our winter season. So you'll see people wearing sweaters. And we also have a lot of festivals during this time. We have the Yipeng Festival, which is the Lantern Festival. Maybe you've seen it before. We also have Loikathang, which is another festival. So there's a lot of things going on. And because there's so many people here, it can be really difficult to find accommodation. When I was coming back from a visit home, I needed to find a new lease. This was, I think, 2 years ago. I went home to visit for a few months. And I came back and it was so difficult to find a place to stay because there were so many people here. And most of the accommodation that I was finding was short term. And I was obviously I'm on an education visa here, I'm here long term. And so it was a little difficult to find places during that time as well. So anytime between, I'd say, June and September, even October-ish, before high season starts, I'd say is a really good time to move to Chiang Mai. Around June is our low season, so not as many tourists. It's really hot also, but it's also good because there's a lot more accommodation available. And because it's less quiet, there's less tourists here during the time. I think it's a really good time to get acclimated and adjust to the life in Chiang Mai. Like I said, if you're coming during high season in November, it's going to be really busy. There's a lot of stuff happening, and for me, that's really overwhelming. And so I highly recommend sometime between June, September, even October-ish, around that time frame. And so the next question that I get a lot is, what is the best area to live in Chiang Mai? This is also debatable and also depends on your lifestyle and what exactly you're looking for. But in my opinion, I would say Chang Phueak, and I can show it on the map here, and Nimman area are a really good place to stay, especially if you're here long term and if you're working remotely. In these areas, there's a lot of co-working spaces, there's a lot of digital nomad events. And I will say, if you choose to live in Nimman, it's obviously going to be a little more expensive because it is a very high tourist area, and it's going to be a lot more busy and a lot more traffic. But if you're looking for convenience, Nimman, everything is walkable in that area. Again, there's cafes, co-working spaces, tons of restaurants and shops. One Nimman, it's where they have a lot of markets, so everything is super walkable and convenient if that's what you're looking for. But again, you're going to be paying a higher price for that. Chang Phueak is a little further out, 5 to 10 minutes from Nimman, depending on which part of Chang Phueak you're staying. But for me, it's a lot more quiet, and it's a quick drive into Nimman if I want to go to co-working spaces or cafes and things like that. And so again, it's depending on what you're looking for. People have also asked about staying in Old City long term. In my opinion, Old City is great if you're visiting, but I think living long term, it's a little different. I don't think it's as walkable. There are a lot of markets and shops and things like that, but it's very loud and very busy and lots of traffic. In my opinion, more than Nimman area. But again, if that's what you're looking for and you kind of want to get a feel for different areas, you can definitely try that out. But in my opinion, if you're looking to live long term, I definitely recommend Nimman and Chang Phueak. There's also an area called Santitham and Jed Yod. Jed Yod and Santitham are, I think they're considered within Chang Phueak municipal. I think that's what they call it. I always recommend people to, get an Airbnb for a week and just kind of test out the different areas. because it's a lot different when you're looking online and researching or watching these YouTube videos than what it's like to really see these places in person and get a feel for what kind of area you'd like. And I also highly recommend looking for condos. A lot of people will want to look for houses here, which are affordable as well depending on where in the city you want to stay. But for condos, when you're first moving here, it's fully furnished, it's fully maintained. So anytime, there's plumbing issues, electricity issues, the condo is usually responsible for that. When you're trying to rent a house, you're going to be maintaining that yourself, and it's not always furnished. Some are, but the majority of the time the condos are furnished. So including bed, couches, some have desks and things like that. So less to worry about. When I moved into my place, it had everything, including a microwave even. So I just had to get new things like new bedding and carpets, and I bought a new office chair and a smoothie maker and all these little things. But for me, when you're moving somewhere, I think convenience is really important until you get adjusted. And then let's say you sign for a 6-month lease or a 1-year lease, you can decide, okay, maybe I want to move to a house. But I really recommend condos just for the convenience. And so if you're trying to figure out where to find condos and how to get in contact with agents, there's a lot of different Facebook groups, and I can link that in the description as well. If you just search, Chiang Mai housing rentals, you'll find tons of groups. That's initially where I found the agent that I worked with to help me find my condo. I've been working with her since 2019 when I first moved here, and so she's been super helpful. I remember when I first moved here, she picked me up for free, no cost, and drove me around to different condos and helped kind of be the middleman between me and the owners, and helps bring costs down if that's what I was looking for at the time. And so you can find these in the Facebook groups. If you don't have Facebook groups, there's also online platforms. There's one called Perfect Homes. This is one that I looked at when I first moved here as well. It's a housing agency as well, and I can put that link in the description. But that's something else to look into as well. Facebook Marketplace is also another area, but again, there's a lot of different options. Once you get in contact with one agent, they usually have connections with multiple different condos and areas. So just depending on your budget, what area you're looking at. I can list these in the description as well, so you can kind of start doing some research on these different areas. Again, depending on what you're looking for, I think these are some really good areas to consider. The other question that I get for those who are moving to Chiang Mai is, what is the easiest way to get around the city? So if you've watched my other videos, I've talked about Grab, which is a ride app similar to Uber for those of you who are from the States. And when you're first moving here, Grab is super convenient. You download the app on your phone, you connect your debit card, and you can use your foreign debit card within the app until you're able to get a Thai bank account. But it's super convenient. It's really cheap. I think I have it in my other video, the cost of living video. Anywhere from $3 to $8 again, depending on how far you're going into the city. I think this is a really good place to start if you don't have a motorbike already. My other suggestion is motorbikes are honestly the most convenient, but again, that comes with safety and other things. I have my motorbike license here, and I've been driving here for 5 years. So I've gotten used to the roads, and we drive on the opposite side of the road compared to the States. And so if you know how to drive a motorbike or motorcycle and you have your license from back home, that's definitely an option here, in my opinion. It's really difficult to have a car in Chiang Mai. I used to have one, but traffic can be a pain and parking can be a pain. And so with motorbikes, it's just a lot more convenient. But again, if you're not comfortable driving a motorbike when you first move here, you can use the Grab app and get around just fine. So the last question that I get a lot is, how do you pay for things from your US bank account to Thailand? And so I have a Thai bank account. You can set one of these up if you're on a long-term visa. I've heard of one-off cases where people can do it with tourist visas, but each bank is going to be very different. But if you're on a long-term visa here and you have your visa stamp, you can bring that to the bank and they can set up a Thai bank account for you. And so what I typically do is I pull money out of my US bank account. I have Schwab, and so I get reimbursed the ATM fees at the end of the month. So I pull out my money from my US bank account in Thai baht, and then I deposit it into my Thai bank account, which is super simple. You can do it at most of the ATMs here. You don't have to physically go inside one of the banks. And so that's what I do. And so in Chiang Mai, we use scan QR codes for just about everything. And that was one of the things that I was super surprised at. I think we started having more of the QR codes, I think, after COVID. But now you won't see anyone using cash or debit cards. We just scan a QR code to pay, you know, gas stations, grocery stores, cafes, even at the doctor's office. A lot, you know, that's basically how things are paid here. And so once you move and you get acclimated and you're able to set up a Thai bank account with your long-term visa, it's super convenient, so highly recommend. So that's all I have for this video. I just wanted to give a general breakdown of some really important areas to think about as you're planning your move to Chiang Mai. Again, like I say in all my videos, all of these are going to be highly dependent on your lifestyle and your budget and what exactly you're looking for, and so something to just keep in mind as you plan your move to Chiang Mai. And like I say in all my videos, don't forget to like, turn your notifications on, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. And I'll see you next time.